All right, Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 790 KFYO. Joining us right now, GOP political strategist, co-founder of MustReadTexas.com, Matt Mackowiak. Matt, good morning. How are you? Hello, Matt?
Yes.
All right, there we go. There's Matt Mackowiak.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Matt. Yes. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Yes, sure.
We were going to talk strictly about Donald Trump today, but we'll get into some other things first. I know you haven't read the full Supreme Court decision, but the abortion law for the state of Texas was thrown out, HB 2. We read the quick statement that the lieutenant governor's office has put out. In just kind of gut feeling, I mean, this all happened within the last 30 minutes or so, but gut feeling, do you think that this issue comes back up in the next legislative session as, you know, maybe Republicans look at what other states have done that have stood the test of maybe the Supreme Court?
Yeah, and that's what's, that's what's so striking about this is, this law was based on the Indiana law, which the Supreme Court had already upheld. So, I don't know offhand the differences between the two laws. There must be some type of difference. It wouldn't surprise me if pro-life members of the legislature pushed in some way as it relates to life in the next legislative session. They obviously won't push in this particular way, and this was unique. It was a unique approach because it did less to put restrictions on the practice of abortion and more to raise standards of care at the facilities themselves. And so it was a different approach. But, look, it's a disappointing morning. There's no question about it. And honestly, even if Scalia had been alive, you probably still would have had a 5-4 ruling against the state. So it's disappointing for the state. You kind of go back to the drawing board if you're pro-life.
Visiting with Matt Mackowiak. We'll see what happens as the minutes and hours go on. I'm sure we'll hear from the governor and maybe Wendy Davis and all the Democrats who will be cheering this decision today. I think we'll see something come up in the next legislative session on this. It would not surprise me at all. Matt, let's talk about Donald Trump. You have some national polls out that don't look too good. There was a ABC News, Washington Post poll that had Trump down 12 points to Hillary Clinton, but there was an NBC poll that had him down 5, and then you had some battleground polling done that had Trump very close. So polling's really all over the place on this, right?
Yeah, it is. It is all over the place. I think what's most helpful is to look at the trend line, and I think in the Washington Post ABC News poll, Trump lost a significant amount of support from May. I want to say that poll was fairly close in May, and now he's down 12. And the bulk of that is that he is losing support among Republicans. I think in that Washington Post ABC News poll, he was down to 77% support among Republicans. He is not going to win if that's the kind of support he gets. You have to be generally at 92, 93, 94% on your own side of the aisle. So I think, this polling will – look, Trump didn't have a bad week last week, but he didn't have as good a week as he could have had. He gave one good speech about Hillary and was disciplined on Wednesday, and then he went to Scotland for 2 days. And really got nothing for that. He happened to be in the United Kingdom during the Brexit news, and he really didn't appear to be any more prepared to talk about Brexit than any individual citizen would have been. So I think this will hasten discussions to free the delegates to the convention. Whether they can get the majority of the Rules Committee to vote for that the week before the convention remains to be seen.
If Trump is down, let's say by the convention, 15 to 17 points, and I'm just throwing that out there as a trend, unless he reverses course, because Trump in some national polls has gone from 5 to 8 to 10 to now 12 points down. So let's say he's around 15 to 17 points. Do you think there will be a huge groundswell at the convention to free up the delegates?
Well, keep in mind, to some extent, this is going to settle itself beforehand because the rules, first of all, there are no rules for the convention. They're set up every 4 years before the convention. You start with the last convention's rules, but there are always changes. So we're going to know whether delegates become unbound the week before when the 112-member Rules Committee meets and votes on the rules for the convention. Now, the delegates themselves have to pass the rules, but it's pretty hard for 2,500 delegates on the floor of the convention to make substantive changes to the rules. It's really left to the Rules Committee. So I think that's really the question. You're starting to see the RNC talk about, sort of quashing this kind of uprising. It's just going to depend on whether they have the votes or not. And look, I think right now the opposition to Trump is building among this Free the Delegates effort. Whether it can reach critical mass, I think probably requires Trump to continue making a few more mistakes in the next 2 weeks. But the convention starts in 3 weeks, and the Rules Committee meets in 2 weeks. So you got 2 weeks left here for important developments to occur, and we'll know more as time goes on.
Matt, normally at these conventions, you see the winners up, those who got close, or maybe those who are the rising stars of the party. In a traditional convention, that would mean a Marco Rubio would speak, a Ted Cruz would speak, a Chris Christie, a Scott Walker, etc. John Kasich. Trump over the weekend said that, hey, if you haven't endorsed me, I don't want you to speak. You're not going to be there. That would mean, as of right now, John Kasich and Ted Cruz. Is that the right message to send?
Well, let me defend Trump in one respect. That is the historical standard. I mean, you do not have people who don't endorse you speak on your behalf at their national party convention. And so if Bernie Sanders doesn't endorse Hillary, he's not going to speak at the Democratic Convention in Philadelphia. I presume he will endorse her probably that week. So from Trump's perspective, I understand why he would want to prevent Cruz and Kasich from speaking. Now, Kasich, of course, is the host of the convention, is the home state governor. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a little bit of a tougher situation. At the end of the day, the convention is about promoting the nominee, about selecting and promoting the nominee for president. So could you strike up an agreement with Cruz and Kasich to just be negative about Hillary and ignore Trump almost entirely and have them speak early in the week? You probably could, but I don't think Trump wants to give that platform to Cruz. And honestly, that's a pretty big platform. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to keep Cruz off the stage because he did win enough states to have his name put in nomination. And generally, when your name is put in nomination on the floor, you are given an opportunity to speak. So that's going to be the interesting subplot here. Is Cruz probably earned the right to speak in terms of winning enough states to have his name put in nomination, and Kasich would generally be welcoming delegates as the home state governor. So I'm not sure that this story's over yet.
Visiting with Matt Mackowiak. Matt, you also run the website, mustreadtexas.com. I know you'll be updating the website on all this HB2 news that's going on. What else are you working on for us?
Yeah, I'm actually writing my Austin American Statesman column for next week on the pluses and minuses, mostly the minus up to Julian Castro as Hillary's vice president. So you can look for that 1 week from today. The Wall Street Journal did have a really interesting story about Abbott going after the federal government and suing the Obama administration 44 times. It's a fairly positive article, and it is leading our website, mustreadtexas.com. You can visit that site to find the top news, opinion, and blog items from around the state.
All right. As always, Matt, appreciate it. We'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. You too. That's Matt Mackowiak, the co-founder of mustreadtexas.com.